Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. Japanese proverb. Who has shaped you over the years in your life? Think back to the people who have touched you, inspired you. Were any of them teachers? This episode is dedicated to all the teachers in the world. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Wix Design Her. Don't cut corners and DIY your website. The quality of your website reflects the quality of your business, so be sure to put your best foot forward online with Wix Design Her. You'll get a beautiful website that will kickstart your business in style. Check out wixdesigner.com. That's wixdesignher.com and start growing your business today. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week. My kids' school celebrated a couple of weeks early to avoid the celebration conflicting with this lovely testing season that is coming up for many of our students. In thinking about Teacher Appreciation Week, it made me pause and give thought to all of the teachers that have touched my life. And I wanted to take a moment to just show gratitude for those teachers that made such a large impact on me and that has led me to where I am today. So shout out to Ms. Norton, my kindergarten teacher. She was the first that was okay with me thinking outside the box. She gave me a love and passion for school and pushed me to excel beyond the assigned curriculum. She would let me sit and do math problems instead of taking a nap when I didn't feel tired. And I love this because I loved math and I didn't want to take a nap a lot of times, but she was okay with me sitting there and doing math problems. So I loved my first experience in the school system. Next up for me was Miss Wynn. She buried the word can't on our first day of second grade. This was back in the day when there were green chalkboards and white chalk. She drew a white mound of dirt on the board and put the word can't under it. She told us we were not to use that word can't in her classroom because we could do anything we put our minds to and anything we desired to do. Ms. Malcolm. She was the meanest teacher in my entire elementary career. I thought she was strict and really didn't like kids. But looking back, I think she just wanted the best for her students. And I learned a valuable lesson in her class when I made a 79 in social studies one quarter. I had never made a C before and I was devastated. But from that point on, I would never be surprised by my grade point average in a class. I would never again not know what my grade was going to be on my report card. No surprises. I kept every grade I received in the front of my notebook for each and every subject from that point on until I graduated, honestly from college, because I wanted to know what my grade was before the teacher even knew. And that taught me a few things. It taught me, one, how to be solutions oriented, because I thought to myself, how can I make sure this does not happen to me again? How can I make sure that I'm prepared? And that is what I came up with. And I find that I do that in many circumstances. When something happens, I become solutions oriented to think to myself, how can I make sure this does not happen again? It was also the moment I learned to stand up for myself and ask questions, because being devastated by this C, my mom did not call my teacher and find out what happened. She told me, if you wanted to know what happened, you need to talk to your teacher tomorrow. And I literally sat in my chair shaking until the end of class. I remember this so well. I sat shaking to the end of class and walking up to Ms. Malcolm and asking her, I don't understand how I made a 79 in this class. And she pulled out her grade book and she showed me all of my grades and she took the average and there it was, a 79. But that taught me to not be afraid, though, to ask the question, to get the answer I needed for clarification. And I still do this. If I don't understand something, I am going to ask. It may seem like a stupid question to someone in the room, but I don't care. I need to understand and make sure I am clear and that I understand what's happening. And more than likely, if I'm in a group, someone else probably has the same question. Ms. Long. Ms. Long honestly was just fly. She dressed very nice. She drove a cute red convertible and seemed to have it all to me. I wanted to be like her when I grew up. Not a teacher, but just have it together. I wanted to have style, a career, and intellect, and that was Miss Long. She simply had swag, and I loved her. She was a tough teacher, but she was all of that. Miss Bell was my French and AP English teacher. She had us read all the classics, Crime and Punishment, Wuthering Heights, Of Mice and Men, and so many more. She took us on trips to the Fox Theater here in Atlanta to see The Phantom of the Opera and Les Mis under the French program. The last thing my small town had was a theater, so the exposure to that experience was fantastic and led to my desire to study abroad in college. Ms. Lancaster, AP Biology. She wasn't mean, but she was really tough. She wanted her class to feel like a college class, and so she operated at that level, and she expected that level of work from us. She is actually the reason I initially majored in risk management and insurance. She's the reason I made the career choice that I made. And one day she invited her daughter to our class. Her daughter was currently in law school, but she had majored in risk management and insurance. Honestly, without her daughter's chat with our class, I probably would not have even known about risk management and insurance. I wouldn't have even known it was a thing. So she opened my eyes to the possibility of a major and to a career that I never knew existed, or probably would have never known existed. Mr. Bennett and Miss Jennings taught me to appreciate the written word and proper grammar. They did not play comma splices and incorrect subject-verb agreement. They didn't play not capitalizing your name like I see so many people do today, and it drives me nuts. Capitalize proper nouns, people. Miss Jennings introduced her class to Carpe Diem and encouraged us to seize the day. Not necessarily in her class, though, but she did teach us that. Dr. Barnhart. He was the marketing professor in my graduate program. He was the teacher who told us that we had to think like the customer or client when building our marketing campaigns, that it's not about us, the marketer, or what we think or what we want. We have to step inside the shoes of our customer and solve their problem or issue. I remember him telling us we weren't normal. We weren't like a large percentage of the population. So we had to think like that group of people to solve their problem, whatever our niche was, whatever our market was. And I absolutely loved his class. It was so fun and so creative. And he often brought in Chick-fil-A executives to share their marketing practices and talked about how they came up with the cow campaign, which I think is just an awesome campaign. It has literally lasted them for years and is still has great traction. So truly enjoyed that class. Professor Kat, and she went by Kat, and I don't remember her real name, but she introduced me to all of the knowledge that business books hold. This was a graduate level class, and her class was a semester crammed into 3 weeks. We went to class every day during that 3 weeks. And she broke us up into small groups, and each group had to deliver basically a book report of sorts on their selected book. My book was The Goal. If you haven't read it and you are dealing with bottlenecks in your company, I truly recommend this book because though it's an old book, it's still very relevant today. And last but definitely not least is Pat Peters, my mom and first teacher. She gave me the appreciation of reading at a very young age. One of the first memories that I have in my house was a bookshelf full of golden books and nursery rhymes in the hallway next to my room. And as I started school, she always managed to give me a few dollars each month to pick books from the Scholastic book order form. I don't know if you all remember those, but my kids actually still get them from time to time. I was always so excited when those books came in and the teachers would pass them out. My mom believed in educational toys over normal toys, even though, yes, I did get dolls and cars, but she really believed in educational toys. She bought me my first computer in 4th grade. And this was before most people had computers in their homes. I remember it was a Texas Instrument where I would spend hours entering letters and numbers on a screen only to type run and get a rocket ship of X's and O's. I know I'm dating myself so much here, but name brand clothing was not a thing in my house. We really couldn't afford it anyway. But she even bought me my first PC in college, so I would not have to go to the computer lab. I could work on my papers in my dorm rooms into the wee hours of the night. Oftentimes, my sorority sisters would come over to use my computer, so my room was a great hub of hanging out and getting work done. But my mom really believed in those things. And she was a preschool teacher, so she gave her energy to hundreds of other 4-year-olds over more than 15 years in her preschool teaching career. She didn't make a whole lot of money, but she was passionate about kids learning and inspiring them to actually like learning. So to her, I would like to say Happy Teacher Appreciation Week and Happy Mother's Day. I know there are many more teachers who inspired me along the way. I would like to ask you to take a moment to think about those teachers who inspired you. If they're still around and you can contact them, you should let them know how they impacted your life. I know it's unfortunate that some teachers impact kids in a negative way, but this day we are appreciating those teachers that love their career and the positive impact they make on the lives of their students. So, Happy Teacher Appreciation Week, Happy Teacher Appreciation Day. Just thank you to all the teachers in the world who are making a difference in the lives of students everywhere. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your sacrifice of time and money. You are truly appreciated. And this episode of the Become Your Own Boss podcast is dedicated to you. Also, before I let you go, I just recently launched my branded website, monicaallen.com. So check it out. It's built on the Wix platform. If you need your first website, which this is my first branded website, or you need a rebrand, or you just need a refresh, check out wixdesignher.com. This week's episode sponsor. I think my website is not only functional, but it's also beautiful. And what I love most about Wix is I don't have to contact an expert if I need to make a quick update to my site. It is so simple with its drag and drop features. So again, check out wixdesignher.com. The link is also in the show notes. Thanks for listening today. Join me on Instagram and TikTok at Become Your Own Boss Podcast. Don't forget to share, rate, and review the podcast wherever you listen. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.